Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host, Avron Lefevre, and this is Top 5s, the only weekly Top 5 show in snowboarding. This week's Top 5, the top 5 things you need to know when you're buying your first snowboard. That's right, we're making this for beginners getting their first snowboard. Number 5, height versus weight. Now, rental shops will size you based on your height and shoot you out the door, but that's because it's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and you're done. Like, they don't want to deal with you. That's it. What you really need to know is your weight. That's going to help determine the length of your snowboard. You don't want to go into a shop where they just hold a board up to you and it goes, oh, it comes between your chin and your nose. What the fuck? You going to nibble on the end of it? Tastes like rattlesnake semen. No, you're not. You need to know that you buy something size appropriate for your weight. It's that downward load with gravity that's going to drive the snowboard. So you want to make sure that you get something sized appropriately. Number 4, wide versus regular. This is a wide beginner board. Do you have a size 10.5 or bigger? You probably want a wide board. Got something that's a 10 or lower? You can get away with a regular width board. One of the biggest things that I see beginners do is they buy a narrow ass board with their size 14 boots, which are 3 sizes too big. Seriously, ask yourself, do I need a wide board? If the answer is yes, get a wide board. Do you need a regular width board? Then get a regular width board. This is pretty basic information. You should understand that. The salesperson that's helping you should understand that, unless they're full-blown retarded. Then there's no hope for them or you, mainly because there's no hope for them and they passed on what little knowledge they have to you, and that just ruined everything, and it's a vicious cycle, and here I am making a top 5 video to fix everything. My life is just too rough. How the hell did I get here? Anyways, benefits of a wide board. Obviously, bigger foot, it fits better. If you go with a smaller boot on a wide board, you're gonna get more stability, which some of you beginners might need, but I don't recommend. It's gonna make it a little harder learning how to get from edge to edge on the board and turn and whatnot. But overall, make sure you get a board that is width appropriate for your boots. Number 3, used versus new. What's better for you? Obviously, I should tell you new and that you should be buying and supporting snowboarding, but I get that there's a barrier of entry to snowboarding. So used is not a bad option as long as the stuff isn't whumped to shit. Now, the problem with used stuff is idiots will sell anything on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and say, great for a beginner. It does not mean that it is great for a beginner. I mean, I've seen people try to sell old Burton T6s as great for a beginner. I wouldn't put myself on that board, mainly because I didn't like it, but I would definitely not put a beginner on that. And that's one of the things that's gonna sucker you in. Sure, it could be a great fucking deal, but if it's an aggressive board, it's gonna make your learning curve so much harder, and it's gonna hinder you at progressing and becoming a better snowboarder. Number 2, does the camber profile matter? Yes, you're a beginner. Some are going to be harder than others to learn on. True traditional camber is harder to learn on, but you build a better foundation for your riding. Personally, I think a flat to rocker or a very minimal reverse camber is easier to learn on, but you will pick up some bad habits that you might have to break later on in your riding career as you progress. Understand the various camber profiles, which I have an explained video for every single one of. Honorable mentions, 2x2 or 2x4 insert packs. Really doesn't concern you too much as you're a never ever beginner and buying your first snowboard. Centered versus extruded bases. Let's be real here, people, you're not going fast, so the base doesn't matter. Our package deal is good or bad. It depends on what you're getting. Side cut technology. Don't get caught up in the hype, people. Learn what it is, but don't think that it's gonna solve your inability to ride. And the number 1 thing to know when buying your first snowboard, buy something that you can progress with, that you won't just outgrow after 5 or 10 days of riding. There are true never ever snowboards out there that are great for learning on, but they're essentially glorified rental equipment. But once you figure out how to link a turn and you're suddenly transitioning from edge to edge and learning how to carve, they're gonna hold you back. So you want a board that's more like a beginner intermediate that you can grow with. This is just my personal recommendation. Some people will argue with me about it, but they're wrong and I'm right. It's my video. Get something you can progress with. That way you don't outgrow it right away. You can build a solid foundation for your riding capabilities on that snowboard and then progress on to something a little beefier, something a little more aggressive, something that fits your riding style as you have progressed. This has been my top 5 list for beginners buying their first snowboard. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did I forget one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this list. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you'd really like to support us and you just want to see us grow out what we're doing and you have the financial means to, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Averin Lefebvre, and I'll continue to be your host, but I want you to know that I've been your host, Averin Lefebvre, and I'll see you in another video.